When you fall asleep, you might feel like your consciousness fades away, as if you cease to exist. But is that really the case? Is sleep a moment of oblivion, or rather a transition into another dimension of perception? We know that when we're awake, our consciousness receives external stimuli, processes them, and constructs a coherent narrative of reality. However, the moment we fall asleep, that narrative breaks down. The usual rules of perception lose their meaning. Strange visions appear that seem detached from the logic of everyday life, yet you still exist, still experience reality, just in a completely different form. This suggests that consciousness doesn't actually fade away. It simply changes the way it functions. Philosophers and neurobiologists debate whether we remain fully ourselves during sleep or if our identity temporarily disintegrates. Are you the same person in your dreams as you are when awake? Or maybe in dreams, you become someone entirely different, someone your conscious mind can't fully grasp. Science has been exploring this phenomenon for years, trying to uncover what really happens to the mind during sleep. EEGs show that while some parts of the brain slow down their activity, others, especially during REM sleep, become even more active than when awake. The brain never completely shuts down, which challenges the common idea that sleep is a state of total unconsciousness. In fact, brain activity during sleep can be surprisingly dynamic, though its nature is very different from waking activity. Moreover, different stages of sleep affect our consciousness in different ways. During NREM sleep, the mind appears to be dormant, but in REM sleep, intense images, emotions, and stories emerge. That's when we dream the most. Interestingly, even people who say they never dream actually do, they just don't remember it. This implies that consciousness during sleep operates on a level we can't access while awake. But does this mean our consciousness never truly leaves us? Some spiritual traditions believe that during sleep, consciousness can travel beyond the physical body, reaching realities invisible to the senses in our waking state. Tibetan dream yoga sees sleep as a moment of transition to deeper levels of existence, where the boundary between self and universe becomes blurred. Similar ideas appear in the philosophies of Sufism, shamanism, and Gnosticism, where dreams are considered gateways to other dimensions of consciousness. In Christianity and Judaism, dreams often held a prophetic significance. It was believed that in this state, a person could receive divine revelations. Is this merely mystical symbolism? Or could dreams actually be more than just a neurological process? We can also consider it from another angle. Could the dream world be as real as the waking world? Do we simply perceive it differently? After all, when we dream, we are unaware that it's a dream. Only upon waking do we realize its illusory nature. But what if the same applies to our waking state? What if our everyday life is also a kind of dream, just more coherent and predictable? Philosophers have pondered for centuries whether what we call reality might be just one of many forms of perception. Is there an ultimate consciousness accessible to us both while awake and dreaming? And if so, what exactly is it? During sleep, your mind cycles through stages that affect consciousness in different ways. Even if you're not aware of it, you experience recurring sleep cycles every night that last between 90 and 120 minutes. Each cycle includes several phases, and their sequence and intensity influence your perception, memory, and even your sense of identity. The first NREM phase is broken down into 3 substages, moving from light sleep through a transitional phase to deep sleep, during which the body undergoes intense rejuvenation. In this state, brain activity is reduced, and consciousness seems nearly shut down. But that's only the beginning. As you enter the REM phase, your brain fires at full capacity, and your dreams become vivid and colorful. It's in this phase that the most remarkable phenomena occur. From full narrative dreams to lucid dreaming, and even mystical experiences. Interestingly, if someone wakes you during REM sleep, you may feel disoriented, struggling to distinguish between dream and reality. Why is this? Perhaps because the line separating them is thinner than we realize. Scientists have spent years studying how each sleep phase impacts the human mind. EEG experiments have shown that during the NREM phase, neuronal activity is organized and brain waves slow down, allowing for deep rest. In this state, conscious perception is minimal. One might say that consciousness nearly vanishes, and we drift into something that, from the perspective of waking life, feels like nothingness. However, this is only a surface-level view. There are cases of people who experience micro-sleeps, brief, just a few seconds dips into sleep, even when they seem fully awake. Interestingly, some claim it's possible to be aware even during deep sleep, similar to the meditative state described by spiritual masters. The REM phase, in contrast, is pure neuronal chaos. The brain acts as if you're fully awake, even though your body remains paralyzed. Some theories suggest that at this moment, the mind intensely processes information and organizes your sense of self. If that's true, can we say that in REM sleep we are more ourselves than we are while awake? It remains a mystery why we forget most of our dreams. Almost every night, we dream for a total of about 2 hours. Yet upon waking, most of those experiences quickly fade from memory. Neurologists explain this as a result of specific brain mechanisms during REM sleep. The activity of the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory consolidation, is significantly reduced. It's like trying to write with a finger on water. Dreams appear vivid, but vanish almost instantly. However, some people can train themselves to remember dreams better by keeping dream journals and practicing techniques of lucid dreaming. This raises another question. Is it possible to fully transfer consciousness from waking life into the dream world? If so, wouldn't that mean consciousness never truly fades but merely changes its form? Many spiritual traditions view sleep as a transitional state, a moment when the soul separates from the body and roams different dimensions. Shamans believe that in dreams, you can meet the spirits of ancestors and spirit guides who share hidden knowledge. In Tibet, the ancient practice of dream yoga has been carried out for centuries, a technique that helps maintain awareness throughout sleep, leading to profound insights into the nature of reality. Some mystics claim that if a person learns to be fully aware while dreaming, they stop fearing death because they see it as just another transitional state. Does this mean that every night, as you fall asleep, you go through something that could symbolize death and rebirth? And if so, could sleep be the key to understanding the true nature of consciousness? Is it possible that when you sleep, your consciousness leaves your physical body and travels through other dimensions? Across many cultures worldwide, there are stories of people who, during sleep, experienced states where they felt separated from their bodies. This phenomenon is called an out-of-body experience, OBE. Those who have had one often describe the feeling of floating above their own bodies, seeing their rooms from above, and even journeying to distant places. But what exactly is this experience? Is it just an illusion created by the brain? Or could there really be something beyond our physical existence? Researchers studying OBEs suggest it might result from specific neurological processes or temporary confusion in how one perceives their own body. However, supporters of spiritual theories believe that in this state, consciousness detaches from matter and explores other realms of reality. Interestingly, studies on this phenomenon have found that some people can consciously induce out-of-body experiences, indicating that it's not just a random byproduct of sleep, but potentially a skill that can be developed. Stories from those who claim to leave their bodies during sleep are fascinating and often surprisingly consistent. Many who have experienced OBEs describe similar sensations: a sense of floating, vibrations in their bodies, a sudden feeling of lightness, and freedom from physical limitations. Moreover, some say that in this state, they were able to perceive things normally beyond their reach and even visit places they had never been before. Is this just a hallucination, or could it be proof of something beyond mere physical reality? Throughout history, there have been cases of people gaining information during such experiences that would have been impossible to get in ordinary ways. Well-known stories include patients who were clinically dead, describing how they saw their bodies on the operating table and heard conversations among doctors, even though they were completely unconscious. Could this be proof that consciousness can exist independently of the body? And if so, what implications does this have for our understanding of reality? One of the most mysterious aspects of out-of-body experiences is their connection to sleep paralysis and other similar phenomena. Sleep paralysis is a state where the mind is awake, but the body remains completely still, as if disconnected from consciousness. Many people who have gone through this experience report feeling the presence of strange beings, seeing apparitions, or sensing unexplained vibrations and sounds. Across cultures worldwide, sleep paralysis has often been interpreted as evidence of contact with beings from other dimensions, demons, spirits, or even extraterrestrial entities. Is it possible that at the moment our consciousness breaks free from the constraints of the body, we are able to perceive what normally lies beyond our sensory reach? Or is sleep paralysis simply the brain operating in a suspended state between sleep and wakefulness? Various spiritual traditions interpret journeys of consciousness during dreams in their own unique ways. In shamanism, astral travel is seen as a real journey to spiritual realms, where one can meet guides and find answers to the deepest questions. In Hindu and Buddhist philosophy, there is the concept of a subtle body that can detach from the physical body and experience other realities. Tibetan dream yoga teaches techniques that enable one to consciously experience dreams and use them for spiritual growth. Does this suggest that dreams are more than just the body's way of recovering? And if we really can leave our bodies, who are we truly? Are we merely our physical bodies, or is there something more? Beings capable of existing independently of matter. Dreams have captivated humanity for centuries, raising questions about their meaning and nature. Why do we dream? Are dreams simply random images created by the brain? Or do they hold a deeper significance? In psychology, it has long been recognized that dreams are the key to the subconscious, the mysterious part of our psyche that we don't access in everyday life. Freud argued that dreams are symbolic expressions of our repressed desires and fears. Meanwhile, Carl Jung believed they contain universal archetypes that help us understand ourselves better. By paying attention to the content of our dreams, we can uncover unresolved problems and emotions that we keep buried deep inside. It's common for dreams to repeat themselves with the same themes, places, and characters appearing over and over. Is this just a coincidence? Or could it be that our subconscious is trying to send us a message? If dreams are the language of the psyche, how can we learn to understand them? Jung emphasized that dreams speak in symbols rather than direct messages. What may seem absurd or unrealistic in waking life can carry deep meaning. Dreaming of being lost might reflect feelings of uncertainty in our lives. Dreaming of flying could represent a desire for freedom or escape from difficulties. Moreover, dreams can reveal conflicts we aren't aware of in our conscious mind. For example, someone dreaming of a collapsing house might be expressing a sense of danger, fear of change, or breakdown of their current life stability. In psychological therapy, dream analysis often helps uncover deeply hidden emotions, even past traumas. Jung believed dreams could guide personal growth by highlighting what we need to work on to find inner balance. If that's true, can we view dreams as a form of wisdom that our psyche tries to share with us? Studies also suggest that dreams help us process daily experiences and regulate emotions. Neurologists have found that during REM sleep, the brain organizes memories and filters what's important from what can be discarded. That's why we sometimes see fragments of reality from the previous day, transformed into surreal images in our dreams. Some theories suggest dreams act as a defense mechanism, letting us face fears in a controlled way before confronting them in real life. For example, people who have gone through major stress often experience nightmares related to the event, which might be the brain's way of managing difficult emotions. This means dreams not only reflect our psyche, but also actively influence our emotional state. If so, could dreams be a healing tool, helping us cope better with life? One of the most fascinating things about dreams is the possibility of consciously controlling them. Lucid dreaming is when the dreamer realizes they are dreaming and can, to some degree, control what happens in their dream. In esoteric traditions, the ability to consciously dream has long been seen as a key to deeper self-understanding. Modern science confirms that it is possible to learn how to enter this state through specific techniques, such as reality checks, keeping a dream journal, or using certain relaxation methods before sleep. But can lucid dreams be more than just an intriguing hobby? If we can learn while dreaming, experience reality in an alternative way, and influence our subconscious, could it be that waking reality is also a kind of dream, just a more stable one? And if so, what does that imply about the nature of our consciousness? For centuries, people have wondered whether dreams might be more than just reflections of the subconscious mind. Different cultures have stories about prophetic dreams that predicted significant events, both in individuals' lives and in the history of entire societies. Is it really possible that our minds can access information beyond time and space? Some researchers argue it's just an illusion. Our brains are experts at spotting patterns, so when a dream coincidentally matches reality, we assign it prophetic meaning. Others believe that dreams may be a form of intuitive information processing. Our subconscious analyzes vast amounts of data that the conscious mind overlooks, allowing it to anticipate certain scenarios. However, there are also cases of dreams that seem to defy rational explanation. People dream of disasters that have yet to happen, meetings that haven't occurred, or events they couldn't possibly know about. Is this just coincidence? Or could dreams truly open doors to the future? One of the most famous examples of prophetic dreams is the story of Abraham Lincoln, who, just days before his death, dreamed of a funeral taking place in the White House. When he asked a figure in his dream who had died, he heard the answer, "The President of the United States." Similar stories are told among passengers of the Titanic, some of whom dreamed of the ship sinking before the disaster. Some argue that such dreams result from random coincidence or internal fears, expressing themselves symbolically. Is it possible that the human mind can receive signals from the future? In the 20th century, scientists conducted research on precognition, the ability to predict future events. In these experiments, they examined whether people could foresee random occurrences, such as images appearing on a computer screen. Some findings suggested that the human brain might respond to stimuli before they actually occur. Does this imply that we possess a hidden ability to sense the future, and that dreams are one of the channels through which this ability is expressed? One possible explanation for prophetic dreams is that the subconscious functions like a supercomputer, analyzing subtle signals and predicting the future based on available information. For example, if someone dreams that a loved one falls ill, it might be because their brain detected subtle changes in that person's behavior or appearance that their conscious mind overlooked. In this way, dreams may seem prophetic, though in reality, they are simply the product of an incredibly sophisticated information processing system. On the other hand, some scientists propose that dreams may be connected to quantum physics and the concept of non-linear time. In physics, there is a theory that time is not linear and that all events may exist simultaneously. If our consciousness can, at certain moments, break free from the usual experience of time, could we then catch glimpses of the future in our dreams? Mystical and spiritual traditions have long regarded dreams as a form of communication from a higher dimension. In many cultures, prophetic dreams are seen as a gift that helps people avoid danger or make wise decisions. Throughout history, shamans, prophets, and mystics have claimed that dreams are a way to communicate with the divine or the spiritual realm. The Bible and other sacred texts contain numerous examples of dreams that change the fate of entire nations. If dreams can truly offer insights into the future, it raises the question of whether our destiny is already written and we are simply living it out step by step. And if so, can we learn to influence what lies ahead through conscious dreaming and deep work with our dreams? Dreams hold an incredibly important place in many cultures and religions worldwide. In some traditions, sleep is not just a physiological state of rest, but is seen as a gateway to other dimensions of reality, where our consciousness can communicate with higher powers, spirits, or even gods. In mystical religions, sleep is often viewed as a path to spiritual awakening and a deeper understanding of universal truths. In shamanic traditions and among indigenous peoples of North America, sleep is regarded as a time when the soul can travel through other worlds, communicate with ancestral spirits, and gather information that can help in daily life. Shamans frequently use various sleep-related rituals to gain insights into the future, heal ailments, or find answers to spiritual questions. Thus, in this tradition, sleep is not merely rest, but a powerful tool for acquiring knowledge that can be applied in real life. In Eastern traditions, particularly in Hinduism and Buddhism, sleep is also perceived as a state of consciousness that can lead to spiritual enlightenment. Hindu philosophy speaks of 3 states of consciousness: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. According to this tradition, sleep is more than just rest for the body and mind. In fact, sleep is seen as a state where our ego is less active and our true divine nature can emerge. Buddhists, especially within Tibetan dream yoga, develop techniques for lucid dreaming that allow for a deeper understanding of the nature of reality and oneself. Tibetans believe that sleep can be a gateway to enlightenment, and controlling dreams is one way to free oneself from the illusions that govern our lives. In this context, sleep is not something to be ignored, but rather something to learn from in order to become more aware in our daily lives. In Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, sleep also plays an important role, but in a different way. In the Bible, dreams are often seen as a means through which God communicates with people. One of the most famous examples is Jacob's dream, where he had a vision of a ladder leading to heaven, which became a symbol of the connection between the earthly and the divine. In Christianity, dreams are also seen as a way God provides guidance or warnings to people, just as in the case of Joseph, who received instructions in a dream to flee to Egypt with the child to avoid danger. In Islam, dreams hold a similar significance. The Prophet Muhammad experienced numerous visions that conveyed divine guidance. Islamic mystics believe that dreams can serve as a gateway to spiritual experiences, and interpreting them is often part of the process of spiritual purification. Many spiritual teachers, both in Eastern and Western traditions, observe that dreams are key to understanding ourselves and the world around us. In many religions, dreams are considered a state in which the mind can free itself from the constraints of the ego and perceive reality in its purest form. In this sense, dreams become a tool for self-discovery, allowing for deeper reflection on the nature of existence. Dreams in these traditions are not merely reflections of our daily experiences, but carry the power of transcendence. They can lead to spiritual awakening, purification, and enlightenment. When we sleep, our consciousness has the opportunity to transcend the material world, bringing us closer to understanding a higher reality. A common element across all these traditions is the belief that dreaming is not just a state of passive rest, but an active process that profoundly influences our consciousness. Each culture interprets this state in its own way, but in everyone, dreams play a crucial role in spiritual development and in understanding the nature of reality. This raises the question, how do we, as modern individuals, understand dreams and their place in our lives? Do we see them as something ordinary and everyday, or are we able to perceive a deeper meaning in them that can guide us to discover our true nature and connect with something greater than ourselves? Lucid dreaming, the ability to recognize that we are dreaming and to influence the course of the dream, has become a subject of fascination not only for psychologists and neurobiologists, but also for those seeking a deeper understanding of their mind and consciousness. Historically, many mystics, including those in the Buddhist tradition and various shamanic cultures, viewed lucid dreaming as a tool for spiritual growth and self-discovery. Today, thanks to scientific research, we have more evidence that the state of consciousness during sleep is more flexible than previously thought. Moreover, there are techniques that help us develop the skill of lucid dreaming, allowing us not only to take control of our dreams, but also to use this state for deeper work with our subconscious. The first step toward achieving lucid dreaming is learning to recognize when we are dreaming. What may initially seem impossible becomes easier when we consistently monitor our dreams and analyze them upon waking. The key to this technique is keeping a dream journal where we record every detail we can remember. The goal is to increase dream awareness, making dreams feel more like reality. Additionally, reality check techniques, such as regularly asking ourselves whether we are dreaming at any given moment, can be very helpful. For example, those practicing lucid dreaming might ask during the day if what they're experiencing is real. When they notice something strange, they then ask themselves whether they might be dreaming. These habits soon carry over into the dream state, allowing us to realize we are dreaming and take control of the events. Once we learn to recognize the moment we're dreaming, we gain the ability to influence how the dream unfolds. In lucid dreams, we are not just passive observers. We actively shape what happens. We can choose the scenery, the characters, or even bring about specific events. This is not only an exciting experience, but also a powerful tool for deeper psychological work. One example is using lucid dreaming to resolve unresolved emotional conflicts. If we are struggling with a problem in our waking life, a lucid dream gives us a chance to take actions that feel impossible while awake. Furthermore, lucid dreaming can help us overcome fears and phobias, since in the controlled dream environment, we can face what frightens us without any risk of real-world consequences. This approach to dreaming can become a form of therapy, helping us process emotions and traumas too difficult to handle while awake. It's also worth mentioning that lucid dreaming offers benefits for personal growth. In many esoteric traditions, it is seen not only as a psychological tool, but also as a spiritual one. In many mystical cultures, such as in Tibet, lucid dreaming is considered a central element of spiritual practice, enabling the discovery of higher states of consciousness. In this way, lucid dreaming techniques can lead to a deeper understanding of the nature of reality, a feeling of unity with the universe, and the discovery of the true self. Contemporary psychology also recognizes that being able to control dreams can enhance introspection. That is, the ability to reflect on one's life and emotions. Through these experiences, we become more aware of what lies in our subconscious and more open to new experiences. Although lucid dreaming techniques may seem simple, not everyone manages to master them. It requires patience, perseverance, and consistent practice. It's important to remember that dreaming, like any other mental process, is a complex phenomenon that can be difficult to control. However, for those willing to take on the challenge, lucid dreaming can become a unique tool for exploring not only one's own psyche, but also the very nature of reality. So, can we learn to lucid dream? The answer is clear: yes. But like any skill, it demands practice, discipline, and openness to new experiences. Lucid dreaming is not just an adventure in sleep, but also a path to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Sleep, long regarded as a passive state of rest, is now understood as an incredibly active process during which our mind processes information, reorganizes memories, and undergoes a kind of cleansing of emotional and physical impurities. Sleep neurobiology shows that sleep plays a crucial role in maintaining the homeostasis of the brain. From a biological perspective, sleep is essential for the proper functioning of the nervous system, and disturbances in sleep can lead to serious health problems. From a scientific point of view, the processes that occur during sleep allow for the consolidation and storage of information, as well as the brain's cleansing of toxins that accumulate throughout the day. One of the key aspects of sleep currently being intensively studied by neurologists is its effect on memory and cognitive abilities. During sleep, especially in REM phases, our brain processes memories, integrating them with existing patterns and memory structures. This stage of sleep features brain activity similar to that seen during wakefulness. During REM sleep, there is intense processing of emotional memories, which can be consolidated into long-term storage. Research indicates that REM sleep plays a crucial role in problem-solving and creative thinking. It is during this phase that new associations can form between previously acquired knowledge and new experiences. Neurobiologists point out that without sufficient sleep, our ability to process new information and make decisions declines. This explains why people who don't get enough sleep often struggle with concentration, problem solving, and retaining new information. It is also important to note that sleep serves a cleansing function. Throughout the day, our brain accumulates toxins and byproducts from neuronal metabolism, which can cause brain cell damage if not removed. During sleep, especially in the deep sleep stages, the brain's glymphatic system, normally active throughout the body, begins clearing these toxins from the brain. This brain cleansing process is vital for maintaining neuron health and preventing degenerative brain diseases like Alzheimer's. In this way, sleep is not just a period of rest, but a critical physiological process that allows our mind to regenerate and detoxify. Insufficient sleep leads to toxin buildup in the brain, which impairs cognitive function, weakens concentration, and harms memory. During sleep, the brain not only consolidates daily experiences, but also reorganizes memories and emotions. Sleep is thus an important psychological mechanism through which our subconscious can work on problems that were difficult to solve during the day. The processes that occur during sleep enable better emotional processing and help us deal with challenging experiences often suppressed by our conscious mind. For example, experiencing intense emotions or stressful events during the day can lead to nightmares or vivid dreams at night, allowing us to process and work through them. Thanks to this, sleep becomes a natural adaptive mechanism that helps us handle the challenges we face in daily life. Additionally, during sleep, our body regenerates itself, repairing damage to cells and tissues, which enables full physical and psychological recovery. Some studies also suggest that sleep plays a role in memory consolidation, a process that helps new information stick in our long-term memory. While we sleep, the brain organizes the data collected throughout the day, filtering it and connecting it to existing memories. This is why our cognitive abilities are sharper after getting the right amount of sleep. Deep sleep phases also help strengthen new skills, which might explain the phenomenon of learning during sleep. What we couldn't master during the day can be processed and solidified in memory while we sleep. For example, we may better remember texts, manual skills, or new languages after regular sleep that promotes the consolidation of this information in long-term memory. Sleep supports not only memory, but also our problem-solving abilities. Many scientists and artists report that during sleep, they have found solutions to difficult problems they couldn't solve while awake. This phenomenon is linked to the creative processing of information and the brain's ability to connect elements that might seem unrelated in normal consciousness. What first appears as a jumble of unconnected data can be arranged into a coherent whole during sleep, leading to new, creative solutions. You could say that sleep becomes a kind of laboratory where our mind experiments, combining data and experiences in ways that aren't possible when we're fully conscious. Deep sleep, also called slow-wave sleep or NREM, non-rapid eye movement, is one of the most mysterious and least understood stages of sleep. It's marked by a significant drop in brain activity, as well as a complete absence of eye movement, making it very different from the REM phase, when the most vivid dreams occur. Deep sleep is often seen as a time when our consciousness fades away and we seem to vanish from ourselves. In this phase of sleep, our bodies and minds undergo their deepest regeneration, while our consciousness seems to shift into a state of near-complete shutdown. This raises the question, do we truly cease to exist in the full sense of the word during this time? Is it simply a pause in our awareness, or perhaps a state where we are stripped of our identity and individuality? From a biological perspective, deep sleep plays a vital role in physical and mental restoration. During this period, our brain processes and consolidates the information collected throughout the day, while our body heals micro-injuries and carries out various regenerative functions. In this state, the body can effectively rebuild cells, clear out metabolic waste, and even reset the nervous system, preparing us for the next day. However, what might be controversial is that during deep sleep, brain activity is minimal, and we are absent on a conscious level. It is a moment when our subjective sense of existence is suspended. It feels as if we temporarily lose awareness of ourselves. So does our identity truly cease to exist during this time? Neurobiology shows that during deep sleep, brain activity is exceptionally low. Brain waves become slow and high in amplitude, meaning our perception and cognitive abilities are greatly diminished during this phase. Additionally, dreams do not occur at this time, making the state even more elusive from the perspective of consciousness. It seems that our mental self simply disappears. This is fascinating because while our body and mind undergo profound regeneration, our consciousness appears to be on pause. Does this mean we do not exist at all during deep sleep? From a spiritual and philosophical standpoint, this question carries deeper meaning. In some mystical traditions, deep sleep is viewed as a state in which the soul detaches from the body or moves into another form of existence. In Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism, there is talk of a so-called space of thoughtlessness, representing a temporary break from the individual self. It is a moment when the soul connects with a higher reality. Is deep sleep, then, a passage into non-existence, a state where we forget ourselves to rebuild our existence on both physical and psychological levels? For many philosophers and mystics, deep sleep is more a state of unity with the universe rather than total absence. In this sense, it can be seen as a time when our consciousness isn't limited to the self, but becomes part of something larger and infinite. From a psychological perspective, deep sleep is essential for maintaining emotional balance. It helps regulate hormone levels, including cortisol, which is linked to stress responses, and melatonin, which controls sleep-wake cycles. Chronic lack of deep sleep can lead to serious mental disorders, such as depression, anxiety, or even identity disorders. Thus, deep sleep, during which our sense of self disappears, is a vital process that allows us to function fully in the reality we face every day. Modern sleep research shows that deep sleep serves a protective role for both body and mind. During this time, the brain disconnects from the daily flood of information to enter a state where it can rebuild its structure, cleanse itself, and undergo repair processes. At the same time, while our consciousness is muted, our body remains active, performing necessary regenerative functions. The question of whether we truly cease to exist during this time remains open, but one thing is certain: deep sleep is essential for maintaining our physical and mental health. In this state, although our conscious activity is suspended, our body and mind are fully engaged in regeneration and preparing for the next day of life. Sleep is a fundamental biological function we cannot do without severe consequences. Every person spends about 1/3 of their life sleeping, which underscores how vital it is for our health, both physical and mental. However, there are situations where people are forced to endure sleep deprivation, and the results of sleep deprivation experiments reveal how deeply it impacts our consciousness. The question of whether it's possible to live without sleep is not just theoretical. Some people claim they can function on minimal sleep or even completely without it. But is it really possible to live without sleep? And what would happen to our consciousness if we never slept? Experiments on sleep deprivation have shown that even after just one night without sleep, noticeable problems with concentration, memory, and cognitive function begin to appear. Most people who go for extended periods without sleep experience hallucinations, altered perception, and serious emotional and mental disturbances. Prolonged sleep deprivation leads to impaired decision-making and a decline in the quality of thought processes. After a few days without sleep, severe difficulties with speech and even recognizing simple images can occur. Psychologically, sleep deprivation causes significant disruptions in the structure of our consciousness. Since sleep serves a cleansing and restorative role for the mind, the absence of this regeneration results in mental and physical exhaustion, which ultimately affects our identity and our ability to engage with reality. Interestingly, some individuals, due to rare genetic factors, appear to need less sleep than average. There are people who claim to function fully on just a few hours of sleep per day, maintaining normal cognitive abilities and health. However, these cases are exceptional, and their existence does not change the fact that most people require regular sleep to preserve mental and physical well-being. Most individuals who regularly get insufficient sleep experience significant difficulties with concentration, reduced cognitive function, and emotional instability. Short-term sleep deprivation is not the same as a complete lack of sleep. Sleep is a fundamental biological process necessary for the proper functioning of the body. Even in individuals who claim to live without sleep, scientific studies indicate that restorative processes are still taking place in their bodies, though not in the conventional sense. The body might be using alternative mechanisms to maintain biological balance, but such anomalies are rare and not yet fully understood. From a psychological perspective, living without sleep is likely unsustainable in the long term, as sleep deprivation damages the brain's ability to repair itself and clear out toxins. Sleep plays a crucial role in maintaining consciousness as a whole, both neurologically and psychologically. Lack of sleep also has consequences for our very sense of identity. Sleep is a time when we process our emotions and memories, as well as reconstruct our sense of self. During sleep, we not only revisit memories from the past, but also shape how we see ourselves and our place in the world. It is during this time that we subconsciously organize experiences, adjust our attitudes and thoughts, and decide how to face the challenges ahead. Without sleep, our consciousness could lose this adaptive and restorative function. It's as if we lose a part of ourselves, making our identity less stable. Sleep is not just rest, it is a vital process for understanding ourselves, managing our emotions, and creating a coherent story of our lives. Just as sleep plays a key role in biological processes, it is essential for the full functioning of our consciousness. To keep our cognitive skills, emotions, and sense of identity stable, we need to get enough sleep. Otherwise, we begin to lose control over our reactions and self-perception, leading to the breakdown of the coherent narrative of our personality. Without sleep, we might feel as though we exist in a suspended state, lacking the wholeness of self. Sleep is one of the most important yet mysterious aspects of our existence. Although it has intrigued scientists, philosophers, and mystics for centuries, it still holds many undiscovered secrets. Reflecting on what happens to our consciousness during sleep, we explore not only questions related to neurobiology, but also philosophical issues about the nature of existence, identity, and our perception of reality. Is sleep just a brief rest, or could it be a transition to another state in which our consciousness changes its nature? During sleep, we cycle through various phases, each playing a vital role in restoration, adaptation, and the development of our psyche. Deep sleep and the REM phase provide not only physical rest, but also mental cleansing, emotional processing, and the construction of our identity. However, on the other hand, a lack of sleep or insufficient amounts of it can lead to serious consequences, not only for our bodies, but also for our psychological sense of self. It's also worth considering the cultural and spiritual interpretations of sleep. In mystical traditions, sleep is often viewed as a crucial moment when we can experience other dimensions of reality, connect with higher consciousness, or uncover truths about ourselves. Regardless of whether we look at sleep from a scientific, psychological, or spiritual perspective, one thing is clear. Sleep is an inseparable part of our lives, and its impact on our consciousness is immeasurable. After all, if we tried to live without sleep, we would not only lose our ability to rest, but also our ability to maintain the stability of our consciousness and identity. Sleep is the foundation of our existence, enabling us to renew our strength and mental clarity. Without it, our perception of reality could become blurred, and we might lose our inner balance, making us unable to handle daily challenges. With this film, I invite you to reflect more deeply on the role of sleep in your life. Perhaps it's worth seeing sleep not just as a necessary part of the day, but as an essential process that connects us with our inner selves and the universe, helping us better understand ourselves and the world around us. Thank you for watching, and I encourage you to consider what happens to our consciousness when we sleep.